Joseph, and I'm the director and founder of AGA Associates. We specialize in architecture and planning, and I have here the lovely
Melissa. Hi everyone, I'm Melissa from ML Property Venture. So we find development sites and property investments for investors, and we also do mentoring. So we introduce people who want to get started in property investment. We mentor them and we help them get their first property, their first flip, and that's what we do.
So, Melissa, we're always asked a particular question. What are the top 10 pitfalls that property developers succumb to when planning their luxury homes? And how can a property consultant assist them? I'm always getting this question. So, what do you think? Do you think we should answer it?
Yeah, this is true, because so even though we're both property consultants at this point, we do various things in the property space. So yeah, we get this question. So I think for me, the main question that I get is like, what is the risk of underestimating the budget? And this is why we're here. I'm like, oh, this is why property consultants are here to help. So I guess we should start off then. What are the risks?
Let me answer that question. So typically, people just underestimate what's required in regards to property development. They really underestimate it. They sometimes take readings from once upon a time when Joe Bloggs did it, or their father did it, or their mother did it 20 years ago, and due to like base rates and inflation, those terms are just not the same anymore. So it's almost like we have to allow for a lot more than we naturally would have. And in order to do this properly, it's always good to have like a cost professional involved in the project in order to harness that. What other questions are we typically asked?
Also, so one of the things I suggest to investors and developers is we always need to have the end goal in mind. And I guess off the back of that, the question is, how do unclear objectives and goals, how does it impact the project, each project?
The amount of times that I get this question, it literally boils down to just wasting time and wasting resources in order of pinpointing the issue at hand that needs to be resolved within the project. People end up utilizing so much resources in order just to complete a task that should be very much streamlined. So I would say the best thing to do would be have a clear set of goals, a clear set of objectives in order to move the project from A to B, in order to have a cohesive design aligning with all the stakeholders from the outset.
And I just want to add to that, and this is why I always suggest kind of thinking, having that end in mind, because you kind of start at the end. What do you want to achieve? So, are we converting this house? Are we building more? What is the end goal? Then you can kind of set the small goals up until then. So what do we want to achieve? And I guess it's also working with consultants. We try to set timeframes around this, don't we? You kind of, this is the end goal, and yes, this is the goals in between, but kind of when? Like, what are our goals? What kind of month do we want to hit this particular thing, and what kind of week? So, yeah, that.
Yeah.
What else? What else do you think? Kind of what other issues arise when you?
One of the questions that I typically get asked is, what issues arise from choosing the wrong location, and what type of detrimental effect can arise from this? Can you please answer that?
Yeah, this is the thing. Location analysis is very important. And just to kind of drill down into that a little bit more, sometimes people kind of hear of a really good area because, their friend or their mate, somebody else is developing in that area. And I really think it's down to each person's goal. Some people want to be closer to their project, some people not so much. But also, once you kind of decided on area that suits you, you do want to do the numbers. So again, yes, the area might be suitable, you might be within close distance if you want to be visiting, or whatever the reason for that area is, but you need to do the numbers. You need to look at local market rates. I totally
agree. No, I totally agree. One of the things that I need to put out there, like our audience seems to be growing day by day. So I would say to people to continue to like, comment, share, and subscribe in order to keep on following this content that myself, Joseph, and Melissa provide here. So if you haven't done it already, please hit the subscribe button below somewhere on this page. So next question. How can neglecting regulatory compliance affect a luxury home project? And how can a property consultant avoid this from happening?
Oh my goodness, yes. So fines. We all want to avoid fines and ignoring regulations. Yes, it causes financial delays, but legal issues is kind of the main thing that we want to avoid. Legal issues, fines, project delays, and this is why kind of planning permission and ensuring that we're following guidance, we're following environmental regulations across what the project requires is all really needed, really.
Most definitely. The amount of times that we've had these type of conversations whereby we have to do our due diligence and just make sure that any policies or regulatory factors that need to be considered can be done in an organized manner. And sometimes we have to manage expectations and inform the client appropriately, because they will have their own expectations of how fast they want to advance and how they want to maneuver. Unfortunately, there's various things to take into consideration at the local authority, public consultations, regulatory aspects, and all of this needs to be coordinated in order to make sure that this actual project can be done in a seamless manner. Have you got any other questions?
Yeah, just from hearing what you're saying, you sound like, and I know you do, you know what you're talking about. I love it. So it's also, I guess, I want to kind of know what happens if you don't get the right people. So what are the consequences of hiring people who aren't the best? Poor contractor selection, we call it. Pick someone, contractor, it's not really working out. How can we kind of mitigate that risk, or how do we mitigate that risk?
But what's really interesting? Hiring poor contractors can, create subpar work and delays. So checking the credentials, making sure they've got the relevant type of insurance documentation, making sure that's on file, making sure, say, for example, the client, has pulled out the relevant type of building insurance as well. All of this is to mitigate as much risk as possible. And I'm obsessed with looking at some of the previous work that some of these contractors have done, and you are as good as your last project. So I'm very keen to see how they progressed on their last project. We have a framework of contractors that we touch base with, on a monthly basis, and this allows us to keep a fresh list, if required. Just to make sure that we've got good contractors doing good work and are available at the right time. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah. To be honest, Joseph, we've got a lot of points to cover, and I think we should do a part 2 of this. How about we stop it there and we do a part 2? What are your thoughts?
I'm in complete agreement. So, I just want to thank everybody that's listening in to this podcast. So with that said, if you want to find myself, Joseph from AGA Associates, feel free to find me on www.aga-associates.com. So Melissa, where can they find you?
Yes, we're across Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn at ML Property Venture. DM us and we're happy to help.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you for everybody that's listened. So remember to please like, comment and subscribe, and tell us what you want to hear next. We want to find out if there's anything that we can assist with people, some of those graping pains that they endeavor in the property development space, and how we can assist accordingly. All right, until next time, we'll say goodbye.
Take it off.